السلام عليكم. وفيه غبورات هذه. المهم سمحوا لي على الانقطاع الطويل بالنسبه للفيديوهات. مؤخرا الجده ديالي توفات، الله يرحمها ويرحم جميع المسلمين، ولذلك قررت باش ندير واحد البوز صغير ونرجع مره اخرى. هذا الفيديو هذا كان اصلا ديجا بريباريت ليه، ولكن ما قدرتش نديرو بسبب حاله الوفاه. الموضوع ديال اليوم ماشي جديد، ولكن انا حاولت نرجع نسلط عليه الضوء حيت موضوع مهم بزاف، كاملين شفناه وعرفناه مؤخرا وكندير واحد الضجه كبيره في السوشيال ميديا، ولكن المعلومات ديالو ما كانتش واضحه بزاف. وحتى فاش كتمشي تقلب على المعلومات ما كتلقاش داكشي واضح وشي كاين فيه شي. مؤخرا فاش بدات الاحتجاجات ديال الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية كنا جالسين ما بينا علينا حتى شفنا واحد السيد من الافارقه الامريكيين اللي موجودين في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية شاد العلم والرايه ديال المغرب وجالس كيدور بها. قلنا ويلي اش هاد الشيء؟ المغاربه كاملين فاش شافوا الفيديو قال هاد السيد هذا ما يمكنش يكون مغربي. ومن خلال البحث والتقلاب ما حنا تبارك الله عزيز علينا هاد الشيء، اكتشفنا بان هاد السيد هذا كينتمي واحد المجموعه او الجروب موجودين في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وكيطلقوا على نفسهم سميت الموريش، واللي هي كيدعيوا بان هي واحد التفرع من الثقافه المغربيه. وهذه المجموعه هذه ماشي جديده، كتواجد لعشرات السنين في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وكترفع العلم ديال المغرب على اساس انه هو العلم ديالهم، وكيعرفوا نفسهم بانهما مغاربه اصليون. المهم حاولنا نحن نبعدوا على المعلومات ديال جوجل ونتواصلوا مع واحد من الزعماء ديالهم باش يقول لنا اش كاين. كانت واحد الصعوبه كبيره باش يخرجوا ويهضروا معنا، ولكن اخيرا قنعناه. واحد السيد سميتو تهاراكا، لا ماشي تهاراكا، تهاكي تهاكا ابوكي بي سميت عندهم صعابه معنا. وفي هذا الفيديو هذا ما حاولناش بان احنا نديروا واحد المناظره ولا نشككوا في داكشي اللي كيقول لنا، حاولنا بان احنا نطرحوا اسئله ونسمعوا داكشي اللي كيقول، ومن بعد ما يسال الانترفيو واللقاء نهضروا داكشي بيناتنا. تفرجوا في اللقاء ونتلاقاو من بعد.
And I am going to be interviewed by the interviewer. So I'll be the interviewee. Brother Marwan will be the interviewer, and he is calling me from the country of Morocco. Brother, the floor is yours.
Mr. Tahaka, thank you for joining us today, and thank you for accepting this invitation. It was really hard finding someone from the Moorish culture to speak to us and give us a closer look into the Moorish community in the United States. And that's a question I may ask later, which why the Moorish people usually don't appear in the social media that much to speak in this matter. So you are a very famous guy, very famous person among the Moorish community and in the national level in the United States. I watched some of your videos who went viral. You were talking about the challenges that they're facing, the Moorish people. Let me jump straight to the topic of today, and I would just want to start from the very far beginning, how the Moorish story has begun. How did they become a part of the Moroccan culture from a historical perspective, and how did they end up in the United States? And before we start, I just want to say that you're making me feel awkward but not wearing the Moroccan customs as you do, or the traditional customs, if you may.
I
know, but you do. So yeah, that's really nice.
So this is the fairs, and it's sort of a reminder of our ancient forefathers and ancestors. You know, it's more of a reminder. The slave trade experience that we have suffered here in America tends to put us in a position of forgetting our ancient culture, history, and customs. So many of us here in America are not even familiar with our descent nature. Many of us here in America, you know, we go by terms Black, African American, which we consider those misnomers. Like, you know, people are not Black people. And in 1913, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, born in North Carolina here in America, came teaching our people here in America that you are not black. You know, no person is a color. He's not yellow, he's not red, he's not black, and you're not black. And with that being said, he gave us the ability to look deeper into history and make a connection with our ancient forefathers and foremothers. Before the slave trade. And before the slave trade, we come to find out that the slaves that came to America, they were plucked straight from the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. And at that time, that area was dominated by what you would describe as Moors. At the time of the slave trade, Spain had expelled the Moors and pushed them back into North Africa. And after they were pushed into North Africa, they were targeted for the slave trade. And so when you look at the slave trade, whether it was from Ghana, whether it was from North Africa, whether from Mauritania, those people were the ones captured, sold, and put into servitude here in America. And we trace ourselves to those people.
Yeah. So when you say sold to who and from who exactly?
Sold to Europeans by those ancestors on the shores of Africa. Traded. Absolutely. And all sorts of bartering with human cargo. But they all came from the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa primarily. And we connect to that as our origin before entering into the Americas.
So let's just hold to that very quick. You have mentioned that there was a slave trade from northwest and southwest of Africa, and as we all know, that's a huge geographical area. Why Morocco specifically? What is the point of connect between the Moorish and the Moroccan culture?
The connecting point where the confusion comes is people assume that we are connecting to the Moroccan state. We're not connecting to the Moroccan state. We're connecting to the Moroccans before there was a Moroccan state. Before the state of Morocco in 1950 came into existence, there were people there called Moors. Before even Islam came into that area, there were people called Moors. So we're connecting to way before the Moroccan state, way before Muhammad V, way before Muhammad VI. We're connecting way before that. So where the confusion lies is when you see us with the Moorish flag, we don't describe this as a Moroccan flag. We describe it as a Moorish flag. The Moorish people had been there before the institutional government called the Moroccan government or the Kingdom of Morocco. It was people already there.
Okay. I totally respect the information that you're sharing with me right now. I'm just from a historical perspective. As you know, Morocco is one of the oldest kingdoms in the world, and you have mentioned the Moorish lived in Morocco way before even the state or the kingdom of Morocco to be exist. As we know, the flag is the most confusing part in this matter. And the flag behind you, I think it was adopted in 1915, so it's not really that old. But why choosing? The flag is new, and you're mentioning that the Moorish lived way before the Kingdom of Morocco. Why choosing this flag specifically?
Because this flag that the Moroccan government waved is an adaptation of the original Moorish flag. The original Moorish flag was there before the Muslims adopted the red flag with the 5-pointed green star with the red borders. And we look into specifics, we're saying that the flag predates it predates the Moroccan government. That's our position. Our position. The Moroccan government that comes in, whether it be the 1920s, whether it be in the 1950s, they adopted the flag that was already there.
So do you know what the Moroccan flag represents?
We call our flag, we don't call our flag the Moroccan flag. Let's be clear. We don't call it the Moroccan flag. We call our flag the Moorish flag.
Yeah.
And the 5 points represent, we say, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We don't call that the seal of Solomon.
What about the colors then?
Yeah. So the red represents the blood, as well as the green representing the land in which our people inhabited. You know, but it even goes a little deeper than that. But on the surface, that's the understanding.
And I just want to be clear, I'm not fact checking or doubting the information you're sharing with me. I have my source of information, but as well as I want to listen from you as you're a main part of the historical culture of the Moorish. Your testimony is taking into consideration. But before I go and ask the following question, have you visited Morocco before?
No, we have never. I have never. I have friends of mine that have. I have never. See, this is the thing. We're not, and I want to be clear. We're not trying to be adopted by Morocco. We're not connecting to the Moroccan state, no, specifically the Moroccan culture as Moroccans experience it today. For an experience that is that's total opposite of your experience.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And you mentioned that you're not trying to be adopted by Morocco. You're far from being in a connection point between the Moorish and the Moroccan culture. But just let's jump to another topic, just because of the time. The question that many of Moroccans are asking, including myself, about the religious belief. What is the religious beliefs and practices of the Moorish?
What we connect to is Islam. However, our connection is more intricate than just saying salam or salam alaikum or 5 prayers and make hajj. Our connection is a little bit more deeper than that.
So what are the specific practices that you guys have?
About to say. We term our religion is Islamism. We make the ism connection to it as a form of practicing something all the time, taking action with it. So we look at the Quran, Mecca, and we call it the Quran of Mecca, and we have our Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
So let me just hold to that very quick.
It's going to be a lot of information, brother.
Yeah, that's all what I want, actually. A lot of information.
Right.
Is the book that you have right now, is it a copy from the Quran that Muslims have?
No.
So can you explain that to me?
This here is, we look at the Quran as for what it is. The Quran means the recital. That's what it means. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America is another recital. Something is being recited to us. When you look at the Holy Quran of Mecca, most people get really bent out of shape because, oh, they got a Quran and da, da, da. But in fact, when you look at the Holy Quran of Mecca, the stories in the Holy Quran of Mecca predates the Holy Quran of Mecca. You got the stories of Abraham, you have the stories of Jesus, you have the stories of Lot, you have the story, they predate the Quran. In the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we don't have any of those stories. None. What we have is practical lessons. We have practical lessons to help us unfold the God or Allah that dwells within us to make us better person.
Okay, I think it's all clear to me in this regard as we're coming to conclude this interview and coming back to the flag, because the flag is really an important point in this conversation, and as it is the main confusing point. So when the American non-Moorish, the American people see you guys raising this flag, as we all know, most of the Americans are not familiar with the Moroccan flag. So when they see you raising this flag and ask you, what is this flag? What you guys are answering, what you guys are referring to. Are you referring to this flag as an adaptation of the flag of the Moroccan kingdom?
No. In fact, what happens is there's a certain, I don't know if you can really grasp this concept, there's a certain aura that goes with being a Moorish American. There's a certain aura. So when you walk the streets, people want to know more. They do not say, is that a Moroccan flag? People begin to say, that's our flag. And without even knowing. And so if I'm walking the street and I'm walking a flag, like for instance, they just had what was it, a march or something. If I walk with the flag, the first thing they might say is, because they're so unfamiliar, they would say, what are you? And that starts the conversation. I'm a Moorish American.
Yeah, so you're trying to separate the Moorish from Morocco, but at the same time, you're raising the Moroccan flag and not introducing it as or referring to it as a Moroccan flag. But just because we're coming to the conclusion, I just want to ask my last question. You have mentioned that you're not trying to be adopted by Morocco, but have you, or are you trying to make any type of connection between the Moorish and Morocco?
Well, I am primarily, if that connection happens, I will embrace it. But primarily, our people here that don't know that they're descended from Moors, that don't know their history, I primarily try to listen. You need to wake up to your identity. You're not a black person. What is a black person? If that opportunity presents itself and it's the right opportunity, I would embrace it. But at this time, my primary focus is to build some sort of infrastructure that we can be proud of.
Mr. Tahaka, thank you for being with us today.
All right, peace.
Stay safe. كما شفتوا في اللقاء كان فيه بزاف ديال المعلومات، واللقاء الاصلي كان فيه واحد الساعه، ولكن حنا حاولنا ان ناخذ الاجزاء المهمه منه، رغم ان اللقاء كامل كان مهم، وحاولت بانني نعطيه الوقت الكافي باش نسمع ليه ونسمعوا المعلومات اللي كيشاركوها معنا. فهاد الفيديو اللي كنت داير معاه كان دايز لايف واحد الراديو ستيشن ديالهم ديال الموريش، وكانوا بزاف ديال الموريش كيتصنتوا، وفاش صار اللقاء جاوني بزاف ديال الميساجات من الموريش، واللي منهم كيأيد المعلومات اللي قالها السيد، واللي منهم كينفي وكيقول بان شحال من حاجه ما كانتش صحيحه. وحتى في الكومنتات ديالهم الى لاحظتوهم كاملين فيهم واحد التضارب بالنسبه للمعلومات. وكما شفتوا في الفيديو هما عباره عن مجموعات بزاف ديال الموريش في الولايات المتحده الامريكيه، وربما اعتقد من خلال المساجات والتعليقات اللي شفت بانهما ما مفاهمينش بزاف بيناتهم. وكانت عندهم دعوه باش ندير واحد الفيديو اخر بهذا الخصوص. المهم قبل ما نديروا ذاك الفيديو الاخر بغيت نسمع منكم، بغيت نعرف اذا كانت عندكم شي اقتراحات بالنسبه للمقابله الجايه، اذا كانت عندكم شي اسئله كدور في راسكم وبغيتوا تعرفوها خليوها كومنت ولا صيفطوا لي ميساج غادي نقراهم كاملين. ديما مغرب، والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.